Alright guys, welcome to Push A. So, yeah, training push today. It's going to be the prime Pec Deck followed by a cable press followed by a cuff lateral, Smith Incline, prime shoulder press, and then a prime lateral machine at the end. So, don't expect y'all to remember that. Don't know where I really listed it off now. But anyways, first exercise up, prime Pec Deck. Doesn't matter if yours isn't a prime, it's a Pec Deck. The things that you want to keep in mind here are we are not trying to get our hands together at the top of the exercise. We are trying to get our bicep to our pec or our elbow across our body as much as possible. So the job of our chest is to adduct the arm across the body. So the more the arm is adducted across the body, the more contraction we get. So you can see the difference between this and that. Notice how my hands aren't touching, but elbows are more across your body. So keep that in mind whenever you're doing this. You'll see what it looks like during these couple warm-up sets. And then as always, we will show you the full send set so you can see what it looks like under full load. So biggest thing with flies is we're going to make sure that you're keeping the same form you keep when you're pressing, which is big chest, shoulders down and back the entire time. We're not concaving like this to come forward, not doing this. We're not like flailing around. Everything's locked in just like we're pressing. We're bracing ourselves by driving our back into the pad with our legs, creating a solid foundation. We are getting to the end range of motion for the pec, active range of motion, which for just about everyone, especially bigger guys, is going to be when that arm is 90 degrees from your body. Anything past that is going to be a bad internal rotation of your humerus and a ton of stress on your front delt, not your chest. So keep that in mind. Once again, active range of motion, not passive. So here, getting my biceps to my pecs as much as I can. Another big mistake I see people make with these is at the top, in order to get a better contraction, you'll see the shoulders come forward and them try to do like this. You just lost most of the tension from your pecs. Have to keep your shoulders down and back and packed. Keep your chest fully active. So keep that in mind.
Now we work. Come on. Keep coming here. Come on. Right. Yes. Come on. Yes. Come on. Get. Finish it.
Again. Come on, get there. Come on, another one. Make it happen. Make it happen. Come on. Yes, sir. So random example of leverages and mechanics. Get on your Pec Deck with articulating arms and have the handle lay away from it. And then bring it lower and see how heavy it gets. Just random illustration of it.
Come on. Good. Come on. Come on. Stay there now. Come on. Alright. Yes. Here. Good. Come on. Still you. Let's go. Yep. Come on. Good.
High five. Come on, brace, drive your back in. Good. Come on. More. Another one. This is it. Yes, sir. Give Mr. Jordan some nuts. Boom. There you go. All right, guys, moving on from the Pec Deck. Next exercise is going to be a flat cable press. This is something that we started doing 5 or 6 months ago now because of the fact that we didn't have a flat machine press here that I loved. And it's something that I've actually come to really like for a couple reasons. A is the stability component, not that I'm necessarily trying to train stability, but it definitely requires a certain degree of stability. That's why we do it first before we do anything else other than a warm-up on the Pec Deck. Second thing I really like about it is it eliminates the issue that you get with dumbbells, and that is, gravity being what it is. Second, you start getting that dumbbell stacked over the joint, you use a lot of resistance. With that cable, even at the very top, it's pulling out and down. You're still keeping a lot of tension through your chest. So you get the same thing from a machine, but like I said, we don't have a flat that I like yet. So we've been doing these, really been able to progress them, and yeah, I like them. So things to keep in mind with this and the way that I cue people when they do them is literally pretend you are pressing dumbbells. You are holding onto dumbbells. You are taking the same arm path as you would with dumbbells. You are breathing the same, bracing the same, whole 9 yards. It's just going to be a lot harder the second half because, like I said, gravity is not helping. It's just the cables doing what they do. So let me show you what it looks like, and we will show you how the semi-sun sets too. I will say the one downfall with this exercise is that once you get strong, it is not something you do by yourself. It's something that you're going to need one other person for sure. I've gotten to the point where I need 2 people. You'll see what they look like handing them to me. It's not something you can do by yourself. So that's the only caveat with this exercise. If you're doing it by yourself, replace it with a machine flat, especially if you have a machine flat that you like. Maybe one day we'll have one.
Oh, yeah. On you. Your way.
And so y'all saw just nice, good range of motion, really concentrating on getting the elbow as far away from the midline as we can and getting as close to it as we can when we press. Range of motion for these, I'll show you when Jordan does his warm-up set. We're not really wanting to get your humerus much past 90 degrees or past your center line. We don't want it way back here. We want it right there. So keep that in mind. Two things to keep in mind with the setup on this is the cable height and the position of the bench relative to the cables. Position of the bench relative to the cables. You want the bench as far back as you can be without like running out of room per se. So you'll see like when we finish up, we're able to very safely just roll out of it and set them down. You don't want to be way out. A, it's just more work, and then B, you lose a lot of the benefit of the cables, mechanical resistance dropping off due to the leverage if you have it back too far forward. So if we have it back there, we actually get some mechanical drop off. Cable height, you really want to have the cable height set to where that cable is running through shoulder, elbow, hand, pec as much as possible. We want the line of pull going right through the pec. So you'll see, when I'm doing them, if you go from the side, very much so that cable's running exactly where you want it to down the arm. Line of pull is right where it should be on the chest. There's no weird torquing or angles of any kind. So about to send my top set and Brian can stand on it if he can.
Come on.
You stand on it.
Come on. Yes. That's easy, man. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Get it now. Good. Come on. Come on. Run. Come on. Gain it. Run. Get. Come on. Run. Finish it.
Two. Yep. What else you got? I can do that one time. Then my spine needs to be set. Yep.
Come on. Yep. Yes. Come on. Good. Come on. Come to work. Let's go. There we go. Come on. Come on. Dig for me, Hunter. This is where it's fucking at. Let's go. Come on. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. All right. Come on.
Alright guys, moving on from the flat cable press. Next up in the session is going to be one of my favorite out of the ordinary exercises that I do, and that is a chest supported like lateral or Y raise, if you will. I really like this exercise for a couple reasons. First and foremost, it is the most natural path for your shoulder to move in, and that is like the scapular plane. A lot of people when they do their laterals get straight out, and your shoulder joint runs out of space very quickly that way, especially if you're a bigger guy. So, taking that, working in that scapular plane from the chest supported position really is optimal for the shoulder, in my opinion. Second thing, obviously, because we're doing a chest supported, we're as braced as it gets. There's no, body English moving back and forth all around. You are locked into position. And then finally, because we're using cables, there's no dead position like there is with the dumbbells. When you're at the bottom of a dumbbell lateral, zero tension on your delts. Until you get out here, there's no tension. With those cables, even in the very bottom, there is a full amount of tension. So, really like this exercise. I really don't like speaking in terms of like absolutes, but as far as a lateral movement goes, I don't think there's a better movement than this. So, it is what it is. Alright, so something I get asked about a lot whenever I post these up is, why are you holding onto handles if you're not attached to anything? Well, your forearm, 2 bones, radius, ulna, if you're completely relaxed, the joint's completely unstabilized, bones are floating around, no bueno, lots of elbow pain. By squeezing the handles, you're able to stabilize, the elbow a little bit more, and the forearm. So, proof's in the pudding. Do a set without really holding on to anything, and then grab a handle, grab a lacrosse ball, really just squeeze the living shit out of your hand. Do something to really activate your forearms and tell me how much better your elbows and forearms feel. So, always talking about joint alignment, right? You can see doing it set up like this, we're really able to align wrist, elbow, shoulder, and that cable all in relatively a straight line. So it's really good alignment too that you don't experience when you're doing a lateral out in front of you. You can see like shoulders here, handles out in front, all of that's getting soaked up by your elbow. So like I said, don't speak in terms of absolutes a lot, but I do think this is the best lateral you can be doing.
Come on! Good work, come on! Come on! Good, dude, come on! Good! Up! Come on! Come on! Drive it up! Come on! Yes! Again! Come on! Drive! Finish it! Come on! Let's go! Come on! There we go! Come on! Finish it! Yes!
Let's go.
Yes, give me another. Come on. Dig. Drive. Yes, yes, come on. There we go. Come on. Good.
Alright guys, moving on from the chest supported lateral raises, we're going to move on to an incline reverse band Smith press. Before I got my prime incline, this was my bread and butter pressing movement for chest. Now that I have my prime incline, it's the other bread and butter movement. Long story short, I really like this movement. If you need some instruction on how to reverse band things properly, be sure to check out the Tuesday tip where we went over that. It'll cover everything you need to know. But for now, we're just going to work up to our working weights and then send the top set and the back off set and move on to shoulder presses. So yeah, let's do it. Come on. Yep. Come on, last one. Go!
Get in. Come on. Let's go, Hunter. Come on. Come on. Let's go, Hunter. Come on. Come on. Yes, come on. Good, Hunter, come on. Stand it now, come on. Right. Come on. Show me you fucking want the sand here. Come on. There it is, come on. Right. Yeah, come on. Finish it, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Yes. Run! Yes! Come on! Run! Yes!
Woo! Alright guys, so moving on from that reverse band incline, it's going to be the last pressing movement of the day. And the last movement we're really having our per se top set, back off set. We're going to do more of like a metabolic finisher for shoulders after this. But yeah, so prime piece with the middle and top pegs loaded, so overloaded a little bit in the bottom. Yeah, so really been progressing this one a lot lately. It had been bugging my shoulder for a really long time, and then really addressed a lot of the shoulder stuff I had going on. I've really been enjoying this piece ever since then. Really been able to make moves and progress with it. So work up to a top set, then a back off set, and then on to the next one. Let's go! Woo! Let's do the work. Come on! Get there. This one's gonna stay moving. Up. Perfect. Another one. Come on, make 10 happen. Easy money. Let's go. Another one. Get there, get there, get there. That's perfect. Alright guys, last movement of the day is going to be a machine lateral. Very much so. I feel like we, took multiple sets on both the brace laterals and shoulder press to failure. I think we've done enough work for them, but I think this is a really great way to really introduce a lot of metabolic stress in a really, really, really short little window, which is a really fancy way of saying really finishing the muscle off and, driving that growth response for after. So we do like 1 or 2 touch sets, and then we're going to just go and we will do, all the way to failure with the weight we're aiming to fail at between 10 and 12 reps. And then we'll actually do 10 partials, which, with perfect form, just getting them out as far as you can. And then that will be it. That'll be a wrap on today's push workout.
Good, come on, dig for me now. Now we're starting to work. Come on. Yes. Come on. Up, drive it up. Yes. Jesus. Finish strong. Come on, Hunter. Dig out these partials. Come on. Ready? As hard as you can. Come on. That's it. Come on. There it is. There. Come on. Finish it. There she is. Come on.
Come on, Jordan. Yep. Come on. 9 and 10. Yep. Come on, get this one up.
What?
Yep. Come on, far as you can, every partial. It don't work if you don't work. Let's go. Come on. Good, Jordan. Work for me. Come on, finish it strong. Yes, sir. Come on. All right, guys. So that is a wrap on push A. All in all, today was an awesome session. We pushed all the numbers on all the lifts, actually, which is, more of a rule than an exception these days, which is always a good thing. So, finish this up. Trying to think. Yeah, we're going to make our way through all the sessions. We've done a pull session, we've done a leg session. Today was push A, so slowly but surely we'll get all the sessions up at least once. But I've said this in a couple videos already. Sooner than later, we're going to be overhauling the whole split, just because we've been running this one into the dirt for like 6 months now, and there's some exercises that we're stalling on. There's some exercises that we're getting so strong on, the juice is starting to not be worth the squeeze. And then, yeah, at the end of the day, I enjoy doing this, and I'm starting to get a little bored with it. So we're going to switch things up tremendously, and we'll make sure we do a whole little video around that, probably be like in the conference room on the whiteboard, be some real good meathead nerd shit. I know how I liked that last time. So anyways, appreciate y'all watching. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe so you know when all the new videos land. We'll be doing our best to bring y'all real regular content. Hopefully y'all have seen I wasn't kidding about it by now this time. But anyway, see y'all next time.